This is a photograph of two Jewish brothers, Israel and Zelig, who have just arrived at Auschwitz from the trains and have disembarked on the cattle cars. And this photograph was taken during the selection process when SS guards and doctors would decide who would be selected for forced labor and who would be selected to go directly to the gas chambers. And this was a process that happened every time a train load of deportees or victims arrived at the camp. And the Nazis were looking for able-bodied people, so no one too young, no children, and no one too old, and pregnant women, as well as anyone who was carrying or caring for a child. All of those people who were unable to work were sorted into the line going towards the gas chambers. And those who the Nazis felt could work and could advance the productivity of the camp and the labor force, they were selected for forced labor and were sent to live in the camps. And Israel and Zelig arrived, and they were selected for the gas chambers because they were considered too young to be productive. I do sometimes think about what would have happened to the children if they had not been murdered, and if they had survived, or if they had simply had normal childhoods that were uninterrupted by war and mass genocide. Their lives were really just completely turned upside down, and many never lived into adulthood because they were murdered. It's difficult to look at the artwork that children during the Holocaust produced, whether in school or in a ghetto, when they were allowed to be normal kids who could try and forget that their families were starving, they maybe had lost their parents or their siblings, and to look at the artwork and see who made it. And then often it says underneath the name in the description of the drawing or the painting, it says was murdered at Auschwitz or died at Majdanek or in Theresienstadt. And it's really difficult to imagine these children who had done nothing wrong. Some of them were babies and others were adolescents, but there's no way that they could have angered the Nazis or have angered anyone to have done such terrible things. There's a common misconception that the Jews must have done something to deserve this, that there must have been some reason for the Holocaust happening and for the murder of 6 million Jews, but there wasn't. If you look at all of the children and all of the innocent lives that were taken, they hadn't done anything to the Nazis. They had never fought. They hadn't even lived through World War I. They had not caused the Great Depression, and the Nazis were really murdering them for no good reason whatsoever.